Hallo. Deutsch oder English? German or English?
English.
Always. Okay. Man. Next time I'll bring naked women. All right. Let's get going. I want to talk to you about working 2.0 because I keep reading all these books about this new generation of people who want to work for us and what they expect and what companies should be expecting and what it's all good for, and I think I read and hear a lot of bullshit. And I think that actually we have in our company a very modern way of working, and I want to share some of that with you and maybe give you some right sizing on the expectations, what you can expect from working 2.0 and Generation Y and so on. So let's first start with what's the image of working 2.0, right? The image is fabulous if you read Spiegel or if you read TechCrunch or if you read whatever you want to read. The image is totally cool, right? It's about massages when you're at Google, and you just go there and some very nice person's going to give you a great massage and all these things. Or it's about the guys who produce Gar-Tex, they elect their CEO, right? So it's a democratic process on CEO election. CEO just walked in, so you will be elected next time. That sounds great, right? That means you finally don't have people promoted to places where they have no clue what they're doing. Or, I mean, this is my favorite with an Irish background. At Facebook, you do drinking as part of your programming test. Fantastic. Or, as some of you may know, I'm very engaged in the startup community, and this is actually the one that annoys me the most, is if you want to be the CEO of a cool startup, you go to Berlin Mitte and you sit down in the coffee shop and you chat all day. Unfortunately, you forget to work in the rest of the day. So that's kind of the image. This is, you do what you want, when you want, where you want, it's all cool. So why are we promoting all these images? Why are we talking about working 2.0? This is because we're no longer looking for mechanical labor. We're no longer looking, at least not in the developed countries, we're no longer looking for someone who will dig a coal mine. In Germany, we subsidized that for a very long time. It was a very bad idea. So what are we actually looking for? We're looking for brain. We're looking for people who can think. We're looking for people who can have an idea. We're looking for people who are creative in any way. Because all the other jobs are easily produced somewhere else. Right, so we're looking for this brain. Unfortunately, brains and bodies are not always connected. So it's very easy to hire warm bodies, and it's one of those things that really completely pisses me off when I talk to managers and they say, let's hire that bad guy because we need warm bodies. Have you ever thought that someone bad will do more damage just by appearing somewhere and pissing off the rest of the team? Right? Instead of just not having someone there and telling your guys, sorry, we can't find anyone, please help us look, and while we're looking, do the extra mile and we'll have a target for you or something. So we're not looking for brains because we're all doing brain research. We're looking for brains because we want results. Results means we need complex problems solved in today's world. And I'm not talking about we as Arago as a company, it's we as the tech industry. There's no low-hanging fruit actually in the tech industry. It's all about the only easy day was yesterday. So we need these brains because we need results. we need to achieve something. We need to move forward. We need to do new things. And unfortunately, there's no command you can key into somebody's care that will produce the results on the front side. So you can't create results upon command. You can't say, be creative now. Right? It's impossible. You don't get that. It doesn't work. So the strategy is we create these wonderful places. So we increase the likelihood of good results. So a wonderful place like massage, or like whatever you want. But the purpose, of course, is, the purpose of a campus with all services included is that you don't leave the campus. Right? Best thing is you have a couch there to sleep. And a lot of people who are really fascinated with engineering do that. It's not bad. Right? So this, because we need the results, because we know brains can produce these results, because we know that the results don't come on command. I can tell you you have to press this button 20 times an hour. That will happen on command. Results from brain, not on command. So, nice environment, brain relaxes, results flow. That's the general idea. Fantastic, eh? Sounds great. If you're one of those brain guys, that's it. You want to do it. So, the real problem is, if you're not into this kind of world, you're in trouble. You're really in trouble. So let's say, this is very good, this is fantastic for you. Because there's no more waterfall plans, you have as much free time as you like. That's a joke, right? So, but you can choose what you work on. And there's lots of services to make you feel not warm and fuzzy. That's great. It's not so good if you don't want to take responsibility. If you prefer to say, this is not my fault because our procedure says to tell the customers to go shove off. This is not my fault. That's the perfect line, right? This is not my fault. It's almost done. In principle, we're ready. Like these things. So, it's not good for you because no results means you're out. Right? No results for a long time, out. This is the principle of salesmanship transported to engineering. The other problem is, this is not the sheep kind of working anymore. Right? In the sheep kind of working, you have this dog that constantly circles you and controls you and commands you, but you know exactly what you do. You don't have to use that brain part. That's not there. In this environment, someone tells you what the goal is, and you have to find out what to do. You can chat with them about what to do, but if they have to manage every freaking thing you do, that just won't happen. And there's no getting used to things. These kind of environments are about innovation. They're about new stuff. And that means once you're used to the stuff, this is passed on to the cheap guys. And you have to do the next new thing. So if you like to be comfy and do the same stuff every day, this is not good for you. So what does this working 2.0 principle mean for teams? Because typically, you don't program a parallel computing environment by yourself. There's only one guy doing that, right? What you call Chuck Norris of code, right? These people seem to exist, but typically you work in a team. So what does that mean in a team? And now, this is for the Germans, it is especially for people in Germany. It means to your team members, you strip. You are transparent. They know exactly what you do, how you're doing, how good you are at it, what you couldn't do, what your problem was, and so on. because these whole result-oriented working thing is all about getting things done. If you're supposed to get something done in a team and you have someone sitting there, even if it's a brilliant guy, and you just don't know what he's doing and how long it's going to take and why he's doing it and so on, if you just don't know that, you, as the rest of the team, you're going to feel bad. You say, oh shit, these guys are going to measure me by the results we deliver. This guy, I don't know, is he contributing, is he not? He might be brilliant, but is he? So out of self-interest, these teams are very, very transparent. So tell that to the Betriebsrats guys, right? Say, we're measuring everything, and we publish it to the whole team. Actually, it's a great idea, because that also means if someone is behind on some other stuff and someone else is ahead of some other stuff, we'll just get to that, they probably help each other. It means everything is measured. Right? In some way or another. It's not for management. When I tried to introduce this principle to my team, I was like, now we're going to measure everything. We're going to say, we're going to keep time and how much you spend on what task and so on and so forth. They go, oh, you can't do that. I say, why? Yeah, because then I have a bad day and you're going to judge me on this. And I say, listen, do you think I have time to look at that data? I hired you because I want a problem solved. If I have to find out in that level of detail why it's not solved, I made a bad decision hiring you. This is not interesting to management. It's interesting to the rest of the team. It's interesting because in the end, the whole team is responsible for the result. That's working 2.0. It's up to the team. It's kind of democratic. It's also brutal. Because when you don't perform, your team people, you told me to use the effort, so your team guys are going to tell you to fuck off. If someone does something bad, it has to be communicated. Why? Because you need to learn from bad stuff as a team, and if you try to hide it, they're really going to diss you for that. That is not very good. That is because a team that is measured on results cannot tolerate incompetent colleagues. So working 2.0 is kind of a dead wood detector. And now this may all sound great to management. I have no dead wood, only results. It's also great for the guys who are in the team because they don't have to do the work of other people unless they choose to do so, which is pretty good, right? Your problem from the beginning is your problem. You have to solve it. If you pick a problem that you want to solve, you say, I'm going to do this, people expect you to be fired and forget. They actually think you said you do it and you're going to do it. It's not like, there's so many IT people, especially in development, yeah, I said that, but then I found out the library and this is all very bad and blah, 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 blah. And I have to start over. We should really program this from the start. So working 2.0 means I don't give a damn. Do whatever you need doing, is your problem. The good thing is you're in a team, and the team is not the toll an anderer macht's thing. Someone else is going to do it. The team means that everybody does their own thing, and because you sometimes you're not perfect, you need help. Everybody needs help. There's no genius that can program Hadoop in a day. Not even Chuck Norris can do that. So you will most likely need help at some point in time. And that means you have a great incentive to help someone else. Because if you have the image that you never help other people, do you think, at your own expense, right, at your time, your goals don't go away because you decide to help someone. That's another favorite excuse I really enjoy. It's like, yeah, I didn't do my stuff, but I helped all these other people. So what? That doesn't do anything, right? If you choose to help people, it's because you expect help back. It's quid pro quo. And that's a very good concept because it means that in these teams, people know that they're not perfect. They talk about their problems, as we've seen before, right? They talk about what's going wrong openly and so on. They learn from it, they evolve. And they do that in an atmosphere where they know, I need help sometimes, I'm going to give help sometimes. Sometimes I'm ahead, sometimes I'm behind. Great. In the end, we all work together to produce a result. But it all has to be said very openly that these are the principles. Actually, I've said all that. It's about creating your personal success. I mean, that's the real difference. You know what you're working on. The real difference is when you got something done, you know you got it done. It's not because some magical process made you do it. It's not because your boss was such a great manager and managed you in a proper way, you know, the sheepdog, and that's why you're there now. It's because you did it. You can feel great in the end of the day. The success is yours. That's pretty good. And if you help somebody, you intrinsically know is that guy is now feeling happy because I contributed to it. That's also pretty good from a hackerman's perspective. Confused? Well, so is it good or bad? Let's take a look. So it is good if you're a curious person. So if you like new stuff, if you like to experiment, if you like to, you know, do new things because the old things you already have done. Been there, done that. It's good if you're passionate about what you're doing. If you're not passionate, this is going to really screw you up. But if you're passionate, if you love what you're doing, this is the right place because you're going to do it anyway. You love it. And you want a lot of other people around you who love it too. You don't want somebody, you're like, hey, yeah, we get this done, and these other people just go, oh, you know, what a crappy day that is. So, it is good if you consider work part of your life. If you think that there's, what in Germany very popular, work-life balance, you have a problem because you don't know that work is part of you. You spend so much time at work and everything is not part of your life. You have to balance between work and life. That is not to say you can work 20 hours a day. I mean, I have the best idea sitting on the back of a horse. You have to give your brain rest. You have to do different things. You have to be a relaxed person. You have to sleep. No, that can be discarded. I don't sleep much. But a lot of people have to sleep. But you have to do that. But still, your work is it's an important part of your life. Even if you're just, let's say, 35 point whatever hours per week, you spend a third of your time. Well, almost, let's say 20% of your time at work. I wouldn't even say in an office. Right? You really have to know that. It also means you can motivate yourself. There's no one going around, it's good for you if you can motivate yourself. There's no one going around saying, Pet, you have to do this and so on. You say, I want to get it, I want to do this. I think it's cool. But self-motivated people, they have more success because someone who motivates himself, gets something done, it's their success. It's what they've got to do. You love success, obviously. You want to get better at what you're doing. You want to be better than somebody else. In the end, the lowest form of this is you are competing against your team members. That's kind of sad. The best part of this is you and your team can beat other teams. That's like sports. It's fantastic. That is a great environment. Puts you together. And you want to work in a great team. Because that's what it does. It creates people who are like-minded. It is not so very good for you if you're just working to fund your life. If you just need money, working 2.0 is definitely not for you. I have a lot of suggestions what you could do if you just need money, and I would not suggest doing coding for a living. If you have a job you don't like, it's not good for you. Working 2.0 is not good for you. You're going to be a very frustrated person. You're going to be an unhappy person. Working is not about creating unhappy people. And that's not good for you. If you like to hide behind your process or behind your boss, that's not good for you because neither really exists. If you're trying to do the Me Too stuff, or if you're trying to say things over and over again, that's not very good. And it's especially not good if you think you want to produce something that other people don't like. Because if you're just doing it for yourself, well, then probably to other guys that's not a result. Let's look at this from a very big distance, just to give you a hint. The only way to justify every morning you get up and you look in your mirror and you say, I make such and so many euros, and you think I'm completely underpaid. Think about how much that guy in China is making for doing exactly the same as you are doing. Our compensation can only be justified on a moral level if we produce something that is of more value. And not the same stuff over and over again. Please, don't whine about this. Because you make these decisions every day when you go to the shop and buy stuff. You are buying, most likely, not the stuff that is produced, except for very rare, very dedicated, deliberate decisions. You are buying the stuff of the quality you want at the best price you can get it. And the companies are doing exactly the same thing. So when all these things that I said are not good, when they are not for you, when this working 2.0 concept, as I told you now, is yours, if that's your cup of tea, then you're really lucky. Because you're constantly getting better at what you're doing, you know? You like that. It's like playing the guitar, right? You're playing the guitar, you start off, you can just do the Stairway to Heaven riff, right? That's the only thing you can do. And at sometimes you're playing like Mark Knopfler. Wow. That's pretty good. You've done it yourself. That's the environment, it happens there, by itself. By default in this environment, you influence what you're doing, and you know why you're doing it. It's not that it comes from high heaven and has nothing to do with you personally. You are personally involved, you can relate to what you're doing. If you want a purpose in your work, if you want to see purpose, sense in your work, then this working 2.0 might be for you. If you really want to choose how much you do, and when you do it, and how you do it, and so on, I mean, there's no thing as complete freedom because you have these team guys, right? You have to agree on some things, but generally, these team guys, then this is a very good idea for you. I have to get used to saying this. And if you want to work with a team of helpful people, because they know they'll need your help at some point, then this thing is good for you. And that one I like best because after doing IT research, I went to the banks and I worked in a bank for a while, and I find out that when you rise up, they have all these people, all they want from you is your job. In these working 2.0 teams, as you will see, there is not much in it, is the juniors don't want your job. They just want to learn from you. I want to give an example as how we structure it, and we're evolving this. We're not done yet. I have so many ideas, and we're talking that through with the teams, and this is an evolving process, so we're getting better, but I'm going to show you a little bit of what we do. In our world, there's exactly 2 job descriptions. There's a junior, and there's a senior. That's it. And the senior guy is a good guy, right?
When did you hire?
That's the inspiration, right? So the senior guy, he can take on responsibility for whole ideas. He can say, this idea that needs doing will be mine, and I'll make sure it gets done. They can submit their own ideas. Right? They can say, I think we also should do that. Not as a kind of bug fix, release, feature, stuff, la la. They can say, I think, I know something's maybe completely unrelated to the product, but they can say, I think we should do that. Other than that, seniors must do work. Whatever they're best at, right? And they must share their knowledge. And juniors must do work and share their knowledge. So this is a little bit like a massive multiplayer role-playing game, right? You advance from junior to senior, and then you start doing quests, which is your ideas and other people's ideas, and then you collect all these unique items and whatever, blah, blah, blah. So there's this marketplace of ideas. And this marketplace basically is a roadmap of what we decide to develop. And the roadmap has some constraints, meaning that part has to be done before the other part. But other than that, it's not sequentialized, except for the constraints. So a senior can pick and say, this is going to be my release. And whenever that can be done next, this will be done, it'll be his release. And the senior who's doing this, I mean, our team's not big enough, we only have one of those teams, we're scaling. So that also means that they have to barter who are going to be the team members, and the team members can work with the people they like best. So there's this social component. Let's say a real life example, a back-end developer, a guy who normally does algorithms, right? A guy who actually programs in C++ all day, says, I really want to join this iPad stuff. I want to try and write an iPad app. Normally, in a typical development environment, you go and say, well, it's nice, go take a course, do something, and come back when you know how to program Objective-C and so on. Here, the guy who's responsible for the project can say, I know you're going to be slow on this because you have no clue about front ends and that's not yours and so on, but I know that I'm going to need your help in the next 2 things I'm going to be doing. It's fine. Join the team. Be slow. Learn. Do something like that. So it is also, it's not just machine-based stuff. It's also people talk to each other. They can make deals. There you see, this is already implemented. There's a marketplace of tasks. So there are dependencies on tasks, and you can pick the tasks you want to do. And then you do them. There are a few rules, like no task can be longer than 3 days, you can never take more than 3 tasks at a time, so there are no bottlenecks, not even at the genius people, and so on. Right? And these marketplaces are great, because then, well, in theory, you can sit in the corner and never choose a task and just be part of the team, but your colleagues are not going to like that very much. But that's all there is. It means when you pick a task, people will rely on you. When you pick a task, other people consider it done. Actually, that's a pretty good thing, because they value your time. They think you are good. You're going to do great things. Oh, I forgot that. Go back. This tool, part of this, is a Kanban-based approach, so it's pull instead of push and so on. We've open sourced that. We were completely surprised. You can download that at GitHub, Arago, Ripe. We're completely surprised. We just released this and we thought, well, if someone ever downloads it like in a month, then we're very happy because there's so many agile approaches and tools and stuff. And within 2 days, it's had 40 stars on GitHub and 3 branches, and we were completely surprised that a very simple marketplace of tasks tool got so much attention. It was blogged everywhere. So we figured this is a great thing. Obviously, there are more people who want to work like that and get results. So what are the rewards? What are the rewards? I mean, you have to have some kind of reward. It's not a cash bonus. we're not trying to incentivize people by money because we try to pay them enough. I mean, we're not the super rich people or anything, but we try to pay them enough so that this works for them, money-wise. If it doesn't work, we can't come together. But if it works, we're grand. So that's not the reward. Money is a crap reward for people who are passionate about what they do. The rewards can be, you have an idea, and 10% of all releases is dedicated to ideas that are not part of the roadmap but submitted by the team. You can have a whole team work on your personal idea. That's a little bit of a variation of the Google 20% rule, but it's quite interesting because it's not like one guy doing something in his off time. It's about getting a team involvement. And the next thing is you can go to cool conferences. I had this talk about we should do this for training and so on. And I said, yeah, but what kind of training? I mean, in some teams you might need this. You have rewards, you can do these and that training. I was challenging to the team. I said to them, listen, is you're doing all new stuff. Is there any training on the things you do? I mean, the software you've just told me is the coolest thing, the coolest solution for the problem that you're solving. There are about 50 people using it yet. Do you think there's going to be a training class on this? Read a book. This is like university, right? Read the book. But then go to the conferences and talk about it. Go to the Hadoop conference, actually talk to people who do Hadoop. Or maybe even something more strange. Go to Singularity and find out why machines can be taught to love. Housekeeping. To be clear on that, bad guys have to go. And the team gets to decide. It's not a management decision. The manager is an asshole if you hired the wrong guy. But the team has to know, together, can you produce great stuff? Yes or no? And people who badmouth others have to go. Because now that was the best poster I've ever put out because it immediately worked. If the next thing that happens after a long discussion on the internet, when you put out that poster above your reception, is the only guy you're not really sure about in the company leaves, you're a very happy bunny. Saves you money in compensation. So let's have some conclusions. Can you take some more? 42 done already. So I think a very good conclusion is working 2.0 is not for everyone. Right? It really is. It can be the idea of work is not to create unhappy people. So if this is not for you, don't do it. If it is for you, you really should do it because it's much more fun. So if it's not for you, you shouldn't do it. You have a little risk because your job is likely to be offshored to some place where it goes cheaper. Or you have to start selling services to the guys who are still here. But the good thing is the world is round. So after a long enough period, the offshoring comes back to you. But if working 2.0 is good for you, if you like that, then you're a very lucky person because it means you're going to do great stuff and you're going to be very much happy. You're going to be a happier guy than you would be in a place where everything you do is controlled and regulated and so on. And this is why all these services go. Thank you very much. Is there questions? Go ahead.
Do you have a feeling for how large a team like this could scale? I mean, how big a team have you worked with this way so far, and how big do you think the team could get before you hit scalability? Or do you think you will?
The team we have at that size is 8 people. I personally have worked in a 20-people team of that size and managed pretty much the same way. That was getting tough because 20 guys, everybody communicating with everybody else, because that was happening here and taking time to understand other people and so on. You really have to get involved personally, right? These are I would not go to a team size of 20 in their own organization. I think 7, 8, 9, maybe 10, that's a good size, and then you'll start splitting. But it also, for projects, my current ideas are that we should form teams for specific projects so that teams reform themselves new. And that means you could also, maybe there's a 2, 3, 4 guy team for a specific project. But I don't think, personally, I don't think it is very efficient if you do it in teams larger than 10 guys.
What?
This should be self-regulated. If you're talking about this Docs 2 work, the team size should be self-regulated.
Yeah, it should be.
Because anybody says, okay, now it doesn't work anymore, we have to split up, and the size is too big, and now we have two working sizes. Right?
Well, sure. In the end, it is self-regulating because you have to do something on the bid-offer side, right? You have to create projects that are small enough, or ideas that are small enough that a smaller team can handle them. If your bigger ideas don't work, you have to break it down in some way. But this has to be created by demand, you're right. So in the end, it's self-regulating, but somebody has to come up with the, oh, we need self-regulation, right? It's not, it doesn't just happen like, for example, we need these rules, nobody can take more than 3 tasks, because we have experts, we have really good people. And these experts say, oh yeah, I'm good at that, I'm good at that, I'm good, and then they end up with a stack of shit. And they can never complete it, and they're completely stressed. That's not good. So these are the things, in the end, it is actually self-regulating, but you need some rules for the market. Any more questions?
I got another one.
Go ahead.
A question that always seems to pop up when I hear people talking about these pull-based work approaches from us push-based people who've never had the chance to work the way you're talking about is, how do you deal with the boring things, the things that nobody wants to work on? How do those work in your marketplace of ideas? Is there stuff that gets left in the marketplace because nobody wants it?
Let me give 2 answers to that. The first approach was, there's an easy approach. You can create constraints, right? So there's something that you know that everybody wants to do, and you just set all the shit stuff in front of that and say, all the shit stuff has to be done before anybody can pick this. That's how we started out. Actually, we don't need that anymore. We really put stuff in as it is now, and that's fine. So people know that in order to live in a clean house, sometimes you have to sweep the floor. That's not a good thing to do. A lot of guys especially don't like it very much, but it needs doing, so you do it. And in the beginning, I thought that needed regulation, but it didn't.
If you look at a normalized workforce, you'll probably see that maybe 30% will subscribe to that model. Out of the other 70%, from your experience, how many do you think you could turn around to such a work style?
I have no clue. I honestly have no clue. It's one of the most frequent discussions I have with my management team. Because I'm enthusiastic. I say, I don't want to work with non-passionate people. I hate that, and blah, get them away from me. And they say, no, we need worker bees, and then I say, yeah, but then we need to turn them around. Can we do it? And I don't know what the percentage. I know it can happen. It works, but I don't know what the percentage is. Sorry.
Chris, I have a question. Do you have transition in the team from one role to another one, or finally people specialize in something? So this guy is good in, for example, C++, and this guy doing Java, and this is rolling constantly and constantly.
We don't have those by definition, but of course we have artifacts in the task market, and the artifacts are oriented on technology or on task type and stuff like that. So, and then we know who's fastest at what. So we know, for example, I am very bad at Java and I'm very good at C. So it's quite likely that I do more C stuff, or I am totally shit in front ends, I don't even see the screen, but I'm very good in algorithms. So things like that. These evolve. We don't control that at all. Actually, we're trying to motivate people who have one speciality to ask them to do something different, just so they don't get bored. No, actually, it's just so they broaden their spectrum. It's a little bit of what I said this morning, is try to make people aware of concepts. rather than exact technologies. I would never hire a XYZ programmer, Java, Python, or whatever. I want to hire a programmer. It's a language, you can learn it. And if you understand how a computer works, you can learn any language, even strange stuff like Erlang. So these specialities evolve due to personal preferences, right? There are some people who love front ends, and there are other people who love math and algorithms and stuff like that, and that's how it happens, but it's not controlled from the outside.
Do you use analytics on those tasks? And if so, how far should one go with that? And is it possible that could piss off the team?
We would never use analytics for a management perspective. Management's only perspective is we want results. The analytics they do on the stuff is for themselves. And yes, they do it. Well, I'm going to be around, so if there are more questions, feel free, or tweet me or write me an email or whatever. Thank you very much.